Alrighty, kids. What we're going to do is we're going to go over topic 6.8, dividing mixed numbers. It's on pages 166 to 167 in your book. You're going to want to take some notes on this as well as listen closely. So you can pause the video, take out your materials, and then we'll get started. Okay, let's take a look at what we have here. Now, before we go into the book lesson, I want to review that we have some basic steps and some new steps that we're going to throw into the process. And there remains to be 5 basic steps to completing this type of a problem. Okay? So if you have a mixed number and you're dividing it by another mixed number, all right? We have some basic steps here that you would take in order to solve that problem, all right? Now, the biggest change you'll notice is in step 1. Step 1 says change the whole numbers, which is not different, and mix numbers into improper fractions. This is the big one, changing your mixed numbers to improper fractions. After that, you see that everything is pretty much the same. You rewrite your divisor as its reciprocal and convert division signs into multiplication. You cross-simplify if you can to help reduce your answer, your final answer, before you have a final answer. You multiply for your quotient, and then you convert into a mixed number and simplify further if needed. Okay? So those are your basic steps for dividing a mixed number by a mixed number. All right? Now, I would like to now go over the information in the book. They always give us, the Pearson book always gives us a very nice example problem. How can you find the quotient of a mixed number? Damien has 37.5 inches of space on his car bumper that he wants to use for bumper stickers. Sounds like he wants to cover the whole bumper. How many short bumper stickers can he fit side by side on his car bumper? Well, side by side means they're going to be uptight with each other, okay? So we don't have to allow for space tolerances, okay? So we will find 37.5 divided by 37.5 divided by 6 1/4. All right? So basically, he has the option of a 15-inch bumper sticker. He doesn't want that. Medium size, which is 10 3/4. Doesn't want that. He wants to put a whole lot of short bumper stickers on, and each of those is 6 1/4. That's why we use 6 1/4 as our divisor. So let's take a look at how the book shows how to solve a problem like this. Now, the first thing they explain to us and tell us we should do is estimate using compatible numbers. Well, okay, so in this case, we're going to look at what we have, and we've learned that we have 37.5, we have 6 1/4, so, you know, what number would be compatible with 6, or 6 compatible with what number here? And in this case, we would take 37 and round it to 36. We'd keep 6 what it is, you know, and that works well for us because 6 1/4 would round down to 6, and so 36 and 6 are compatible. If we divide, we get 6. So our estimated answer is about 6 bumper stickers. So then they tell us, you know, they show us how the problem is actually solved, and they say write each mixed number as an improper fraction. So what we do is we take 37.5 and rewrite it as 75 halves, 6 1/4 rewritten as 25 fourths. Now, you may not remember how to convert mixed numbers to improper fractions, so a little bit of a review. And if we have 37.5 and we want to turn it into an improper fraction, what we would do is we simply take the denominator 2, multiply it by the whole number, 37, and then add 1 to our product. So in other words, if we take 2 and we times 37 by 2, we have 2 times 7 is 14, carry the 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 74. Add that 1 to it, and we get 75 halves, okay? And then if we were to look at the other example that we have, we would see that we have 6 1/4. All right. And what I like to tell the kids is if you want to turn this into an improper fraction, you would multiply 4 times 6 plus 1. 4 times 6 plus 1. And you're going up and around, and it'll give you the numerator you need. So 4 times 6 is 24, plus 1 is 25. I'll show you again. 4 times 6 is 24, plus 1 is 25. Keep the denominator the same. And so that's how they came up with 25/4. All right? And then what they tell us to do, of course, is to use the reciprocal of 25/4 to rewrite a multiplication problem. And so we would create the reciprocal, and we would have 4 over 25 instead of 25 over 4. And then we would want to cross simplify. Now in this case, you can cross simplify both sets. So in other words, 25 is a factor of 75. So 25 goes into 25 one time. 25 goes into 75 3 times. And then of course 2 and 4 are compatible. 2 will go into 2 one time. 2 will go into 4 2 times. So that leaves you with 3 times 2 and 1 times 1. All right? 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. So we turn that into a whole number. We get 6. So Damon can put 6 short bumper stickers on his car. All right? So anyways, basically then, the big thing that you need to remember here is to take those mixed numbers and change them into improper fractions before you divide. All right? And remember, you do that by simply taking 2, the denominator, times the whole number, plus the numerator. And if you do all that, that gives you your numerator for your improper fraction. All right? If you have questions about that, your teacher can help you with that. So, now what we want to do is, in your book, you have some do you know how problems, okay? And I would like you to do problems 1, 2, 3, and 4 right now on your own. See if you can solve these problems, then start the video up and we'll check the answers. If you don't understand it, you'll be able to continue the video and see how each problem was solved and then get a better understanding. If you do understand it and your work looks good and your teacher approves it, then you could probably just move on and skip the rest of the video. That's part of digital learning, okay? Knowing what you know and knowing when you should continue to learn and watch the video or get further help. All right? And a lot of you will be learning online in college, so you want to get used to that. Anyways, what you want to do is solve these division problems right now. Pause the video, show your work for each of them, and then check them. Go ahead and pause the video now. Okay, let's see how you did here. All right, let's take a look at the quotient for number 1. The quotient for number 1 is 4 and 10/11. Hopefully you got it right. Number 2, the quotient is 1 and 23/42. The quotient for number 3 is 25/32. And the quotient for number 4 is 3 and 11/16. So if you got all of these right, at this point you could probably stop the video and just simply go show your teacher your notes and move on or submit a picture, okay? If not, what you probably want to do is take some new notes on how to solve these problems. And let's take a look at number 1, okay? If we look at number 1 here, you'll see that the answer is 4 and 10/11. All right, so if we solve that, first thing we want to do is turn 18 into an improper fraction, and we want to turn 3 and 2/3 into an improper fraction. And remember, we would do 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 gives us 11. So we have 11 thirds as our new improper fraction. So now it's 18 over 1 and 11 thirds. Okay? So the next thing that we want to do is now we can begin the division or the multiplying process by creating our reciprocal of 3 over 11. Change our division to multiplication. When we multiply 18 times 3, we get 54. And then 1 times 11 is 11. Now notice that I went right into multiplying because there is no cross simplifying. 11 is a prime number, not a factor of 18. 3 and 1, can't reduce those any further, so we multiply straight across. Now what we have is we have an improper fraction we want to turn into a mixed number. So we're going to do a little bit of division and take 54 divided by 11. 11 will go into 54 4 times. That's 44. Subtract. You have 0 and you have 10. So now we have our whole number 4. Our denominator is 11. It will stay the same. Our remainder becomes our numerator. And so that's how you came up with that answer. Okay? All right, let's take a look at number 2 and how they came up with that answer. And once again, what you do for number 2 is you take 4 1/3, and we're going to turn that into an improper fraction. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. And we put it over 3. So again, we got that by multiplying 3 times 4 and then adding 1. 3 times 4 plus, 3 times 4 plus 1. All right? And that's how we get our numerator for the improper fraction. Then we would take and change this into an improper. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14. So that would give us 14/5. Now, before I put my multiplication symbol there, I have to remind myself I'm dividing. Don't put your multiplying down until you've converted this into the reciprocal. Okay? So now we're going to do 13 thirds times the reciprocal of 5/14. Now you're going to want to look for compatible numbers to cross simplify. 3's prime, 5's prime, nothing there. 13's prime, it's not a factor of 14, so nothing can be pre-simplified. All right, so we have to multiply out. And we get 13 times 5 is 65. 3 times 14 is 42. So we have an improper fraction, so we want to divide 65 by 42 to get our mixed number, and we will do 65 divided by 42. It will go in 1 time, and 1 times 42 is 42. Subtract, and we get 23. So we have 1 and 23/42. And that is how they came up with the answer of 1 and 23/42. Okay, let's take a look at example 3. Now, example 3, what we have here is slightly different. We have 5 divided by 6 2/5. We're going to turn 5 into an improper fraction. 6 2/5 into an improper fraction. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 2 is 32 over 5. Okay, again, 5 times 6 is 30, plus 2 is 32. So now we can get started with the whole division process, and we're going to take 5 1/5. We're going to change division to multiplying and create our reciprocal. Okay? And now this sometimes can be tricky because sometimes kids will make the mistake of cross-simplifying. You don't need to because you are going from numerator to denominator and numerator to denominator. In this case, you have 1 and 5, no simplifying there. You have 5 and 32, 5's prime, it's not a factor of 32, so there's no simplifying that way either. So we just multiply straight across here. 5 times 5 is 25, and 1 times 32 is 32. That is the end of our answer. This is not an improper fraction, so we don't have to turn it into a mixed number. And again, that gives us our quotient of 25/32. Okay, let's take a look at number 4. All right, let's take a look at number 4 and see how we did. Again, we start off by changing everything into improper fractions. 9 times 6 is 54, plus 5 is 59. 59 ninths. Divided by 9 times 1 is 9, plus 7 is going to be 16. So we have 16 ninths. Okay, now at this point, you might get tempted to simplify 9 and 9, but you don't need to. Okay, we're going to cross simplify if we possibly can. And so we have 59 ninths. We're going to switch to multiplication because we're now going to rewrite the reciprocal of 16 ninths. And now we can see that we can cross simplify. 9 will go into 9 one time. It will go into 9 one time. 59 and 16 are not compatible at any level, so they are going to stay the way they are. 59 times 1, 59 times 1 is 59. 1 times 16 is 16. We now have an improper fraction, so we would divide to get our mixed number. Numerator is the dividend. Divisor is our denominator. 16 will go into 15, a total of 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18, carrier 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So we now have 9 subtract 8 is 1, 5 subtract 4 is 1. And we can rewrite our answer with our whole number 3. 16 is our denominator. And the remainder is our numerator. And our answer is correct. Hopefully you have a better understanding of how to divide mixed numbers by mixed numbers. If you need further help, your teacher can help you or your parents. If you understand it, you'll probably be assigned to go on to the next activity.